Hi, everyone. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. And today, Jill Jardine and SL369 Crypto will be sharing some price predictions with us. So, you guys hang in there. We'll be right back with lots of great information for you. We're back. Thanks so much for joining me. Jill, thanks for jumping back on here so quickly with us to make some corrections. We had an adjustment with the information for Shiba, so we'll be touching on that today. SL, thanks so much for gathering that information and getting right back with us for all of our members and getting this all coordinated. I really appreciate both of you. SL, do you want to start us off with I guess we need to start off with the king, with Bitcoin, what's going on, and then we'll move on to Shiba. Is that the plan?
Yeah, sure. So thank you for coming back so soon, Jill.
Oh yeah, thanks for inviting me, you guys. And good to see everybody out there.
Yes, always good to have you here. So Bitcoin, the last time that we spoke, I think Jill predicted that August 13 into August 19, we will have corrections. So the market has been fluctuating. There's days that's down, there's days up. Today is down a little bit, like less than 2%. Right now it's $46,000. So a couple days ago, when Bitcoin was at $45,000, my spirit guide told me that Bitcoin will go to 48 and 50K and then dropped. So when they told me 48,000 and then they put and 50,000, I didn't understand why they have to say like that. I should have said, if Bitcoin go from $45,000 to $50,000, they should say that. But I said 45,000, 48, and then 50. So there is like a pause between 48,000 and 50,000. So I have been observing the market and now I understood what I'm trying to say. So Bitcoin actually went from 45,000 to 48. And then after it hit 48, the market had been going down. So in my dream, they didn't say to go down. They just make a pause. They say, 48 and 50K. So based on the information, I am waiting for the market to go back to 50K and then drop. So I don't know how big the drop is. It could be by a few $1,000s only.
Okay.
The community is still trying to determine and want to confirm with you, Jill. Do you see that if the correction isn't this week or the date has moved to some time later on this month?
So in other words, when Bitcoin starts progressing upwards, right?
Down. So right now the market is down by less than 2%. Do you see any other time in this month the market will have a little bit more correction, a bigger correction than today?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some more corrections. I was predicting after 822, but I'm looking at the Vedic Dasha system for Bitcoin now, and it looks like it's going to be a little crazy after that full moon on 822, and then in 831, August 31st.
When you say crazy, just to be clear, do you mean up or down?
Down, up, yeah. Jaggy, what I call jaggy. Mm-hmm. And then I don't really see a trajectory moving up consistently. It's going to be there. Okay, I'm going to throw out some dates around this. This is a date of shift too with it, which looks like it could be pretty fortuitous. August 31st, 2021 through about September. I said 822, but it looks like in the Dasha system that 822 to 831, and I mean August, I'll use the month because I know in other parts of the world they put the month first and the day second. So August 22nd is going to be a bit of a mix in the Dasha system, 822 to 831, and I mean Okay, I'm getting some feedback, you guys.
Yeah, I just muted SL's. I think she's having some trouble with her mic and her.
So to clarify with Bitcoin and this correction, there's still corrections going on. We're going to see something right before the full moon, as I said, 8/22, and I'm looking at an upswing from about the 19th when Uranus goes retrograde, which we're going to talk about later in the show for everybody. So from 8/19 to 8/22, it could be starting to come back, but then there's some regulations, or there could be a correction again. 8/22. It's going to be that week between August 22nd and August 31st is going to be a bit of a mixed bag. And then we're going to see some stabilization and upward movement. August 31st through September 7th looks pretty good. But we're really going to see some very powerful activity here with Bitcoin from September 10th through September 19th. And I think that's the beginning of a upward trajectory going forward until about November 20th, when there could be another loss cycle. It's going to be very wild. Like, I think it could take a huge leap. Let me see. I'm just looking at this. Okay, this is kind of a pronounced cycle of going up. The October 14th to October 25th is quite a powerful cycle in Bitcoin's Vedic chart and dashas, sub-cycles. And then again, there's a very nice cycle, November 8th through November 20th. The situation from October 25th through November 8th, it's interesting. It could actually, it could stabilize monies. It's Saturn. It's a Saturn sub-sub, but Saturn is in the second house of the Bitcoin monies in the Vedic, so that won't be such a bad thing. And then in the Western chart of Bitcoin, so I hope people got all those dates.
That was Vedic information for Vedic.
Yeah, that was the Vedic dashas, which are the sub-cycles. And those dates of the beginning of a new sub-dasha tend to make for changes, and there will be some shifts during those dates when the new sub-dasha started. Now, very interesting right now with Bitcoin. Right now, today, 15th of August, going towards the 19th, there is definitely some influence of, we're going to see a shift and Bitcoin coming into its future direction. Why is this? The planet Saturn, which rules structure and rules something coming into, well, when we incarnate, when we're born, we have to come into form. So there's something forming for Bitcoin right now in this time period from mid-August through about the 10th of September that will reveal a new directive for it. Saturn sitting on the north node of Bitcoin's natal birth chart in the Western astrology. Just want to remind people I'm a Western astrologer primarily, but I also can read charts in Vedic astrology and read the systems, the dashas, and also give remedies, Sanskrit mantras and gems for people. Anyway, but this Saturn on the north node of Bitcoin is going to be very telling. It's going to be showing us some new directives for Bitcoin, and it's really going on right now. So I would relate that to the shifting of direction, although there still may be corrections happening in this time period. I think that we can safely say after 9/9, 9/10 that we will see upward trajectories moving forward. Now, as far as this Uranus going direct on the 19th of August, this is not a bad thing for the Bitcoin chart because of all the Aquarius. Anywhere you have a lot of Aquarius energy, Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius energy. So a Uranian shift would also be good for these coins, these cryptocurrencies that have a strong Uranian signature, as does Bitcoin. So it's kind of going to be a little exciting here. But as far as the rest of this month, there's still some up and down. And even through, I think that there's a bit of an upward cycle right before the full moon. And then it will get, this is the full moon on the 22nd of August. Then it's going to be a little bit jaggedy or up and down until after the 9th or 10th of September. And then we're going to start seeing some more. It won't be huge leaps, but it will be more maybe initially more smaller climbs in the actual pike chart or whatever that's called. What are those charts called? What do you guys have? It's called a Bitcoin BTC
price chart.
Oh, price chart. Yes, yeah. You can have glasses on. Yeah, we're going to see that price chart start incrementally having, going up, but not like big. Don't think we're going to get into the big leaps until October, as I said in the other video, when we start having all the outer planets going direct again throughout that month. You guys have other questions? Do you want to field some other information? I mean, other questions, concerns? SL?
So yes, Jill, so the August correction in the September correction, which one is bigger? The August or September?
August. Yeah, August. Because this full moon, okay, the full moon is actually going to be conjunct the planet Jupiter in the 7th house of the Bitcoin chart. So that's related to what is going on with the other, okay? The other, not Bitcoin, the coin itself, but with people and regulators and the public. So there's something interesting here. I would read that as basically a bit of an explosion for Bitcoin in a good way, because this full moon is also very, very close to Bitcoin's natal Venus in the 1st degree of Pisces. So the full moon is going to be at 29 degrees Aquarius. It's the last degree, and anything that occurs at the last degree of a sign, which would be 29, there's 30 degrees of each sign of the zodiac. So when you have something occurring at a 29th degree, it's very catalytic. There's a word for it, anarchic. It's very powerful because, basically you're completing a cycle. So as far as Bitcoin's concerned, to have this full moon with Jupiter conjunct, Jupiter will be at like 27, 28. The moon's at 29, and 1 degree away is Bitcoin's Venus in a different sign in Pisces, but still it's going to be very, very good. It just is going to take about a week or so for us to see how that catalyzes the expansion from Jupiter and the growth that's going to go forward. But that full moon on the 22nd is a trigger date for expansion where Bitcoin is concerned. So that's pretty clear for your listeners, I think.
So then August 13, which is until August 19, is the original date for the corrections. So do we still anticipating a correction right now?
Yeah, I would say that there is something actually leading up to the 22nd. Anytime between now and the 22nd is on, it's a week from today. So it is within the next week. I think there will be a bit of a correction, not big. But it's going to be enough so people don't feel, it's going to be like people are still not feeling so secure about the upward trajectory that's going to come. It's still going to cast doubt, let's say that, in some people's minds, especially the people who are, again, new to crypto. And increasingly, it seems like you're going to have people like your Patreons and listeners to Lisa's show who have been in the crypto world for a while, and they know that there are ups and downs. But because so many new people have entered the crypto market and world since May, when there was the big correction, that they really, unless they've studied up or, they actually study cyclical, they may have no clue of how this is going to transpire.
Yeah, thank you for that information. The reason I am asking about the correction because there are some people still trying to buy their favorite coins, and that's why they want to buy a little bit cheaper. Bitcoin has been
Right.
have been rising.
We had it at the lowest. So I think we're in this week when it's pretty much, in the next week, we're going to see perhaps, this is a good time to buy before it starts rallying. Yeah. Interestingly enough.
Yes.
Okay, so should we wrap up on Bitcoin and move on to Shiba? Everybody's so excited about.
Sure, we can talk a little bit about Shiba if you pull up the chart.
Yeah. There was, I was trying to see, somebody was telling me, I thought I heard a rumor about somebody making some announcement about using Shiba.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Shiba. And we had the incarnation date messed up by a year. So now we have the correct incarnation date, August 1st, 2020, 3:32 a.m. in Osaka, Japan. Correct, SL?
Yes.
So what do you want to say about Shiba? I'd be interested to hear about how it came to be, and then you can fast forward us in time to where we are now with that coin. Because, not that it's going to, I am going to say one thing before you say anything, though. What's ever happening now with Shiba is a bit deceiving because Saturn, the Lord of Karma, is opposing the natal sun of Shiba. So that would be a bit of a blockage and a bit of a resistant energy, resistance to its expansion. Also, we have Saturn is squaring the natal Uranus. So basically what that means, the picture that we're seeing with Shiba right now is certainly not what it's going to be. So that being said, SL, tell the audience and start telling us something so I can read off of your voice and what you say about Shiba, at its incarnation leading up to now. Thank you.
Yes, so Shiba was launched last August, the 1st of August, as a meme coin. It has, I think, quadrillions total supply. Then it didn't make a lot of noise. My group didn't discover Shiba until early April. Some people discovered, but earlier, late or mid-March, when Shiba cost very little to buy. I think some people bought a billion Shiba for $25. When I got my information on April 11th, the price has gone up a little bit. It cost like 110 for 1 billion Shiba. So then around April and May of this year, whenever Elon Musk tweet about Shiba, there's a Shiba dog at NASA, I believe. So he, randomly tweet for whatever reasons. And then the price skyrocketed, and the community thought that he is promoting Shiba. Then that's how Shiba got onto the scene. Just a lot of people buying Shiba. That's where you see the spike. Lisa, if you pull back to 180 days, the chart, then it went up to how many zeros? 4, 0, and 3. Is it 4?
It looks like 5. Hold on a sec. I gotta put on my glasses. 1, 2. Yeah, it looks like 4 zeros, and then a 3.
Yes.
And then there was also some news that Amazon was gonna. It was a possibility that Amazon would use Shiba.
Yes,
in the future.
That's later. Amazon thing is later.
Yeah.
So in March, we discovered that. My group discovered that, and then we bought in. Then a month later, we bought on April 11. A month later, it skyrocketed to. It dropped by 3-0. We got into Shiba when it was 7-0, and then number 1. Then in May, can you put your cursor back, Lisa? May 4th.
This is April. March.
I got into April 11th.
Go to April 11th.
Yeah.
Okay. April 5th, 9th. There's 11th.
Yeah. So it was 70 and then 1. We got in that date. Then a month later, explode. Shiba went up by maybe 10,000% or more. So it cost from $110 to buy one Shiba to it cost like $35,000 to buy Shiba in May. That's explode. Then community take profit drop a lot. And then Vitalik, he has a lot of Shiba because the founder donate, I forgot how many percent, maybe 49%. I forgot of the total supply. I forgot how many percent, but the huge total supply of Shiba, they donated to Vitalik. And then Vitalik said, oh my God, I have a lot of money in my wallet. Should do something good about this. So he decided to donated a portion of Shiba to the India Relief Charity Fund. And then it has been going down quite a bit, but Shiba is very resilient. The project has been get a lot of support from the community, also from the exchange as well. They got a lot of exchange list them for, I think, for free. They don't have to pay. A lot of exchange that they get in for free. And also recently, maybe a month ago in July, they launched something called Shiba Swap, where you can stick Shiba and then you earn free coin every day. And also you can farm Shiba. The project's pretty ambitious. They want to have like 500 coin on there, a pair, like different coin and pair with Shiba. There are various ways you can earn free coin. Basically, you can buy Shiba on Shiba Swap, rather buy on an exchange or Uniswap. So the team is pretty ambitious. And then another thing that they just announced recently, they want to have their own mainnets, move away from Ethereum, and then have their own network. They can have Shiba on it. So there's other development in the work, but the white paper has revised and improved. Very ambitious project right now. So that's where they are.
Okay, thank you for that, SL. So that makes sense. I was tracking the April date, and what had happened is that Saturn just came off of the opposition to the Shiba natal sun for the first time when it had that bit of a big boost in April. Okay, that was Saturn had just moved off of affliction. Well, these planets travel forward and then they go back or retrograde. We all know about Mercury retrograde. So every planet has a going direct or going forward cycle, and they all have retrograde cycles except for the moon and the sun. But all the other planets, Mercury, we all know about Mercury retrograde, that it's messes up communications, technology, not good for travel or it's starting something new, interviews, buying cars, buying electronics, all of that. However, Mercury retrograde is actually good to reassess your plans and then go forward once it goes direct. And we do have a Mercury retrograde coming in this fall. We talked about the end of September and early October, but then we have a Saturn retrograde, which is, I want to talk about that with Shiba. All the planets, there's Venus, there's Mars, but in the case of Shiba, it's been undergoing a Saturn retrograde. So what is that? How does that affect a cryptocurrency, especially? I mean, how it affects a person or a project is that you get to do a redo, you get to reevaluate. So this is the process that Shiba is in. It went direct, and it was, when all this boom came, it was actually going direct, but it was opposing the sun. It had just lifted up, opposing the sun. So it kind of opened a bunch of doors. And then Saturn went retrograde starting on May 23rd. And it's a reevaluation time for Shiba. And that's probably when the project, all these new projects you're talking about, have started to come up. But at this current time, in the second half of August 2021, Saturn's currently back in that position of being retrograde, opposing the Leo sun at 9 degrees Leo. Saturn's at 9 degrees Aquarius. So we have a polarity. So what does that mean in English for everybody? That means that it's creating a bit of a holding pattern for Shiba. And then everybody's question is like, well, when is it going to break up? Well, it's going to be passing beyond retrograde. By the time we get to September, it's going to be a few degrees away. It's still retrograde, but it's freeing up the natal sun. So I would say September, October, November, we're going to see some good things from Shiba. Also, Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, is doing a very nice thing with Shiba in the 8th house of monies and resources coming in from various places. So this would be both Shiba funding projects and receiving support from many different people. The other thing is that Jupiter is going to go back and create what we call a trine, which is a harmonious aspect with the Venus in Shiba's chart in September. So I want everybody to keep an eye out on Shiba in September and October, because there will be an expansion, an expansive transit. I mean, the Saturn does come back over one more time, opposing Shiba's natal sun in early December, which could be some kind of problematic issue for Shiba in early November, or a blockage of some sort, some kind of, I keep hearing regulatory issue, but there's something that's going to happen late November, early December that will perhaps stall or halt the forward progress, but it is only temporary, and that moves off by January of 2022, which looks like a very profound cycle for Shiba in 2022, starting in February, and then pretty much going all year as Pluto comes over the natal Saturn of Shiba. So some kind of restrictive energy that has kept it in these holding patterns is being removed, okay? And so I will look at the dasha cycles in a moment to see if there's any particular August and September dates when the price of Shiba will go up. But in the meantime, I really like this Jupiter trine Venus to benefit. So the Venus, the natal Venus being aspected by an transiting Jupiter, those are the two, what we call two benefics, the two benefics in astrology. And whenever they make a harmonious aspect, it's a win-win. So that's a very good indicator for Shiba. There's also another weird thing happening with the Shiba chart. They were founded with Uranus in Taurus up in their 10th house. So there's that surprise element that we talked about, and Saturn squaring it. So I feel like when the Saturn moves off as we get into September and October, there may be a surprise for people around Shiba. Like they'll make an announcement, they'll make a surprise announcement, or there will be some kind of, and I think it's a good thing, there'll be some sort of opening there. There's a window here is what I'm trying to say really strongly in September and October with gains for Shiba. Now I'm going to pull up its Vedic. In the Vedic chart, it is ruled by Mercury. So that's, and the Mercury is very strong, but Mercury can also indicate changeability. But it's in a Mercury subcycle, and that kicked in on July 31st, 2021, goes till 9/20. Within that subcycle, there's some really nice dates here. And so you asked me about a rally, and I'm looking at that. There is a potential for something really big between August 25th, August 28th to August 28th, because that's a Mars subcycle, and Mars rules the house of gain for Shiba. It's also in the 10th house of public a public appearance. So that could be a good 3 days in August for Shiba. There's something too around the 21st to the 25th could also, leading up to that, could be pretty good too. That could be pretty good because I think it has something to do with getting attention from more people. Okay, so that's August 21st, 8/21/21, August 21st, 2021 through August 25th, but then the August 25th through August 28th. So if I was to suss out a boom time, I would say that August 25th to 28th, because it's a Mars minor cycle, and Mars is got the most directional strength with Shiba. So it's going to be a burst. And I, if you want to use that word explode, Mars does rule explosions. I don't know how much it's going to explode, but then there's there's also something between, let's see, there's something that's going to shift and change for Shiba. Something very telling happening that will almost be karmic. Well, I don't want to use that word, but something, because people think it's bad. It's going to be more of a future indication, September 29th, 2021 through October 2nd. But it looks good because what comes on October 2nd to October 5th looks pretty good. And then Shiba goes into a different cycle starting on October 11th through the 21st, which looks really, really good too. And I'm trying to suss out what would be the high point here. 1024 to 1029 looks like a very high point. There's a lot of how shall we say this? Up and down, and even almost like confusion from November 2nd to 11th. But right on the 19th, it hits a wall. Interesting, that date that November 19th through November 28th, there's a bit of a, quite frankly.
That's that bomb for all markets that you've been saying.
Yeah, but it's funny that actually on the 19th of November, it definitely hits a bit of a wall, Shiba, through the 28th. And I mean, because it's going into a sub-cycle of loss, actually. So that is clearly been delineated that there's a loss cycle with Shiba from the 19th of November through the 28th.
So this sounds like if people want to take profit, they should take profit by the end of October 29th. If they want to reserve the
that looks really good. Mm-hmm. And again, like, people aren't, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm only giving astrological indicators based on now where we've incorporated the Western charts, and Western astrology includes the outer planets of Pluto, Saturn, and Neptune, which are very important when you're looking at the collective as far as societally, nationally, or internationally. Those are the indicators. And the fact that in 2022, Pluto, outer planet of power, of money, comes over the natal Saturn of Shiba means that's some kind of adoption, perhaps by a bigger concern, meaning like a company or, psychically, when I was looking at these charts earlier, I just got to download that and I may have said this earlier in other videos. I really think 2022 through 2023 are game changers in the cryptocurrency world, because we will see the adoption or a rejection of certain cryptocurrencies or coins by larger concerns, okay? And I almost feel like it's going to just take the first one, and then we're going to see a scramble for that. And I've been trying to really suss out, the natural inclination would go towards Bitcoin being adopted by a major concern. But I think that there may be something with these coins and the projects behind them, that they are working to find their, quote, benefactors, or those companies, businesses, government agencies, internet, they're finding, I'm trying to think of a good word to kind of rope this all into. They would find their, I guess, bigger concern, I don't like the word entity, because that has connotations of entity possession. So I do feel that the cryptocurrencies and coins will be courted, or they will court companies, spirit saying individuals, whatever that means, and groups to adopt their currency as a rate of exchange. And so that looks like it's all in the works with certain coins, but I think it's there's a major push with that next year. And I would say that is as a result of economic down cycles. I did say the other day, we're coming into a time period when the nodes of the moon shift. Nodes of the moon are very powerful predictors of what the flavor of the next 18 months will precurse. They precurse what the next 18 months will be. And as I said, we're coming out of 18 months in January 2022. So that would have been since about June of 2020 of Gemini Sagittarius eclipses and nodes going through those signs, which, as I said, is all about information and the spin and people putting out their versions of the truth and what is the truth, the polarity and duality and divisiveness, the evil twin and the good twin of Gemini, Sagittarius trying to show the big picture, but Sagittarius also rules governments, international, national politics. The news is Gemini and Sagittarius. Sagittarius being more with the truth and Gemini more the silver tongue lying one. So we've been having the an information overload and misinformation and messaging, and who controls the medium will decide how the message comes through. So that's been a lot of energy around that. And notice that was after COVID that we kicked into that after the first wave, June 2020 through January 2022. So the nodes will switch to the North Node will be transiting through the sign Taurus, which is a money sign, and the South Node will be transiting through the sign Scorpio. What does Scorpio rule? Death, transformation, and rebirth. Taurus is stability. So we're going to have from January 2020 to approximately June 2023, a lot of death and rebirth. I think actual death of old ways of being, even people dying, obviously. We've been seeing that for a while. There's going to be a lot of people leaving their bodies after that November 19th eclipse, but we're seeing it now 2 months out from the May 23rd eclipse. So what I'm trying to say is that financial markets, the whole economic and financial systems are going to undergo a major shift. And so there will be this big push for financial stability and security, and not quite sure if we're going to see it in that time period, but there will be the adopting of new currencies, and we will see a lot of shifts. I'm not going to go into, what should I say, the dark picture around this, but we will see major shifts in economics during that time. And Taurus is sort of Taurus is a bit, and not to insult any Taurians out there, but Taurus is a bit of a thrifty sign, okay? Where Scorpio is more abundance, like money goes in, money comes out. But Taurus is very much a tightening of the belt sign. So that, and the North Node will be in Taurus. So and Taurus can be more of the lack or scarcity sign, where Scorpio is more of the prosperous and abundance. And the balance is found between the two. But with that North Node and Taurus, we're going to see that whether it's the truth or not, there will be a lot of news about lack, meaning shortages, or there's no money here, there's no money here. It's going to be a big wake up call. So this is why crypto at this point in time, let's see, that's 4 months out from now, it's really important people rally their resources. They use their innate intelligence, their intuitive intelligence, to really suss out and make their gains now. Although, as I'm leading into this, it's really all a way of saying that I think crypto becomes much more powerful, integrated into our economy system. And we still may have this fringe thing, but I want people to remember that throughout history, the fringe people, which I would say crypto people are right now until maybe next year, the fringe always were able to see what was coming next. Like if you look back to Germany during the Weimar Republic in the late 1930s. It was the fringe who could see that there was economic disaster coming. In other times, there were the fringe people, which I guess psychics and astrologers and visionaries are all considered that, or artists, but they tend to be the visionaries of a society and they see what's coming next. So that's a long way of saying that you guys are all the visionaries, and working with this energy of crypto now is ahead of everybody else before it does get integrated into the mainstream. Sorry, that was just another channeling, but I think we needed to share it.
Yeah, that's all great information. Maybe one day we can do a show on non-crypto, and you can talk about the economy and how cryptocurrency infiltrate the mainstream media. I just came back from lunch with my mentor, and then he said that like show him how to get into crypto. He owns his own company, but it's kind of a big shock to him that the stock market will be gone in maybe 10 years or so later on, and he not prepared, but he doesn't know anything about cryptocurrency, so I share with him a little bit. He's a good friend of mine. But in any case, a lot of people will be shocked when in 2022 and 2023 when they don't know anything about crypto or haven't heard about crypto.
Yeah, I mean, we keep saying that this is the time to get in, even though there may be a correction at the end of the year. It's still the time to get in. I mean, my guidance, my psychic guidance has been that like you're late. If you're late, you're going to be late to the party if you get in. Really, 2022 is probably the last really powerful year. If you get in after that, you're late to the party. You won't make the gains. But it's funny you say that, SL. I have clients who are very wealthy who are taking like other investments and translating them into crypto, and they are hungry for knowledge. And I know some people who I can refer them to who know a little bit about the investing of it or how to whatever. But it's going to be a huge movement, and I don't know if you and Lisa want a side job. You guys might want to look into that, helping people translate their other investments into crypto. It's huge because regular financial advisors are kind of if you got anybody who's over, let's say 55 or even over 60, they're not going to. It's rare to find them, touching crypto in their financial, maybe not so much, but just the ones I know around where I live, they really don't want to they don't want to make that transition yet. They're too old school. And we're going to see that there's a lot of that old school not wanting to incorporate new paradigm.
Well, actually, one of my sponsors for my monthly meetups that I'm starting to do with my buddy that I do my happy hour show with on Fridays, and this is one of our sponsors for my regular channel on YouTube, is Perpetual Assets, and the guys over there, Will and Gus. That's who my husband and I have bought. When we buy large amounts of crypto, especially, we do over the counter. Because you wire your funds over to them. As soon as they receive the funds, they call you and they send a test amount to your wallet so that you go, yes, that's the right wallet. And you're talking to a human on the phone, and then they send the rest of the amount of crypto to your wallet. So it's a really secure way of doing it, really helps you be comfortable. The other thing is, now that we're in the time of the health situation, there are different laws or things are changed with your IRA, and you can take out, we were able to move, I can't remember, Will and Gus know all the statutes on it, but you can move a large amount of money out of your IRAs without the tax penalties.
Wow.
And put it into crypto that you hold in your own possession without the penalties. And so there's a link in the description of this video where you guys can get a hold of Perpetual Assets, and they can talk you through all the different resources. You can buy gold and silver from them. You can buy, like I said, crypto over the counter, as well as get information on that, those IRAs and other crypto things. So
yeah, that the whole translation process. That's why if there's people that are in part of your group SL or out there who are looking for a new career and have some kind of background that would be relevant to that burgeoning industry, I'd say this is the time to get on board with it. You know, this year into next, with people translating their assets over into crypto, because it's really, you really do need somebody who has some knowledge in order to do that. I don't think they do well without some help with that.
yeah.
But anyway, it looks like SL, you wanted to know maybe some good dates for Shiba in November as far as the topping off days, so to speak.
Yeah, because you said November 19, you know, the market go down and Shiba, you know, have some.
You know what's crazy? And this date has come up. It's a spiritual date, 11/11, but Shiba goes into a Venus Jupiter. It's K2 Mercury, Venus Jupiter, but it's a Jupiter subcycle, and Jupiter rules the 7th house of others and it's rules the 10th house of Shiba's professional outlook. So it looks like around the 11/11, November 11th, 2021 is a very nice peak date for Shiba. But then there's this other one as well that I kind of referred to, 10/29 to 11/02, October 29th to November 2nd. I'm a little like, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen November 2nd to November 11th, because it's a bit of the two nodes are involved in that cycle. And so that could be a little rogue, which I would speculate that it will be very up and down during that time. But it looks like around the 11th, there may be a nice rally right before the big drop.
So should people take profit in late October or early?
I kind of feel like
November,
it's like I gave out that date of the November new moon in Scorpio as being sort of a really nice marker for people, and maybe that's the cash out date, and that would be November 4th. November, that whole week, the 3rd, 4th, 5th looks really good. Mercury goes into Scorpio, Venus is in, that looks really, really good. And then the 11th could be good. It's an Aquarian moon. The 9th, 10th, 11th look good. And then, we're a week out from the eclipse at that point. What's weird? I've noticed that a lot of what we're predicting now is happening faster, though, too.
Yes.
I'm seeing these dates. Like, I originally saw that the next wave of COVID fear, or whatever you want to call it, would be dispersed by the media, certainly when school started again in the fall in the U.S., in September, October, November. But we saw it coming earlier than that, which is interesting. So we've just got to look at energy and the way that there is accelerations going on with whatever side of the energetic people are on. So how this relates to crypto is I'm giving the vision, I'm giving the dates astrologically, but then we're dealing with a lot of acceleration in general, meaning things can happen even before these, what would be, normal astrological cycles to happen. So, but I'm going to stick with the astrology because I've been reading charts for many, many years, and it is quite a foolproof method. But I do want to remind people that, any predictive tool, whether it's astrology, psychic, intuitive, it's very rare to find somebody who has 90% to 100% accuracy because of the changeability of the universe and people and situations and projects. So when you start dealing with, like the percentage that SL and I get, which is 80 to 90%. I mean, I've been told by individuals, it's been more like 90% for me, but still, I'm not going to take credit for that. That's just universe. So people, this again comes to this whole issue of people really tuning in and developing their own intuitive abilities, their own radars to suss what's right for them. And to that extent, I just actually have an announcement to make here that I am going to launch a Patreon site in September. I'm going to probably do it. I'm not sure yet when. I got to look at the astrology, probably after the new moon, but it's going to be helping people. I'm going to be giving a lot of teachings and practices and modules on how to do things like develop your intuition and share a lot of the time-tested techniques I've used with clients and myself throughout the past 30 years. So that's going to help a lot with your people to develop their own intuition and be able to read this energy for themselves, which I think is a huge gift. So that being said, I think we should move on to the next coin. What do you guys think?
Yes. Before we move on to the next coin, you sort of like gave us a preview about the crypto market in 2023. A lot of people heard a lot of rumbling regarding 2023. So can you talk a little bit about the crypto market of Bitcoin in 2023? People have been really concerned about it.
In what way?
They said, oh, it's going to be a bear market, and we had to cash out like 9% of our profit in 2022 or something like that. And also they concerned about regulations.
Yeah, it's funny. I keep picking up on that in the background too. Yeah, I feel like I've said this in previous videos. It's been like the Wild West right now. There's not a lot of, the government hasn't caught up, and they don't really, there's not enough, again, it's kind of funny. There's not enough education really out there among the mainstream and certain groups. People aren't, that's why the work that SL and Lisa do is so important. And again, check out the podcast on Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine featuring Lisa and SL, very informative. But it's almost like cryptocurrency is on this trajectory and people haven't caught up to it. And that's why there's a lot going on. But you're right, the hammer could come down in 2023, and the regulations and the taxes and the restrictions, especially when it may be the viable way of exchanging currency in 2023 after what goes down in 2022. And remember, we're going to have a whole year of the nodes being shifted to Taurus and Scorpio in 2022, which is going to revise our monetary system. So of course the government's going to want to get in on that, the governments around the world. And up until this point, it's been sort of like, again, fringe, but some, fringe usually is the visionary in the crowd, right? So yeah, I think that I haven't looked that far ahead, but 2023 is the end of Pluto going through Capricorn. So it's a continued breakdown of systems, and it would be a continued power grab. Actually, 2023, it makes the shift into Aquarius halfway through the year. So it is going to be a little bit of a crazy time in 2023. And as I said, from some of the elders I work with have also said we're going to have other issues beyond, some more things added to our plate in the form of natural disasters and whatnot. So it could be kind of a wild ride. November 2022 too looks like it could be good financially for cat. I think there's I'm not going to speculate on that yet, but I think that people just have to be in the now and do what you need to do for yourself now and not go into fear about the future. And as I've told you, we can create reality, and we certainly can create it when we link up with like-minded individuals with similar intention and with similar heartfelt energetics to help themselves and help others and to help the planet. That's really what is supposed to be happening. So no matter what the control agendas are, they cannot control the love vibration.
Awesome, Jill. That's a good preview. So then a lot of people actually, there's a huge Bitcoin Black community has been waiting for Bitcoin Black to launch. They supposed to launch sometime earlier this year. It's a project they've been working on for, I think, since 2018 or 2019, based out in Australia. The developer, a team of them, we don't know who they are. They want to remain anonymous. So they said that if 1 million people register on their website, we will get 3,600 Bitcoin Black coin for free. They will airdrop the coin into our wallet in March of this year. but there have been a lot of technical issues. So it has been delayed for the past few months.
Yeah.
The community is getting anxious. They wondering what's going on. They want to hear more from the projects, from the team.
Yeah, so what's this November 5th, 2019, 7:26 a.m. in Melbourne, Victoria chart?
The day that they launch the projects.
Yeah, okay. I'm not too crazy about this chart because it has what we call in astrology a fixed T-square, which is planets that are like opposing and squaring, not in harmony, and it's between the natal sun, which is in Scorpio, and the natal moon. I mean, they didn't really pick the best date for incarnation, to be quite honest. There's a moon sun square, which could explain the delays, and if that's not enough, the Uranus is basically opposing the sun, not some good, some bad, and squaring the moon a little, it's kind of loose, but still that's why I think they're having all these problems, because not only was it founded with that square in the chart, but that actually is being aggravated at this time. And that's thus the delays. It's being aggravated by Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn in Aquarius had been squaring the natal sun of Bitcoin Black up until about, let's see. I mean, I can give you the break free time once this passes through. I think it may open up things really well. But right now, it's under what we call an affliction. It was really bad it was really bad from April, May, June, and July. It just finally broke free in August. So we might see some improvements going on. The planet Uranus is opposing the sun and basically squaring the moon right now. So it's one of these situations where they have a lot to sort out for sure. They have a lot to clean up here. But once they do, and when it really will be in the free and clear, I don't know how they won't make it through this next round of obviously they're not available, but they could do really good in the spring of 2022 because that Saturn afflictions are gone to the sun and the moon of the chart. Uranus comes in, starts surprising everybody, starts bringing out, and that would be them trying to get groups of people on board in the project and doing different incentive or motivation real strong in March and April of 2022. And they could really make some gains here in April and May of actually 2022. But up until that point, they're working through a ton of kinks. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, that sounds like it because from March until now, there hasn't been a lot of news going on. There's a lot of communication, but it's just a lot of delay. That's all.
Yeah. It doesn't look like that clears up anytime soon until then. But when it does clear up, when I said April and May of March, April, May, they could have some really cool breakthrough type of things. And again, it would be very different than how I think that might be their thing. We're going to be the unusual crypto. We're Bitcoin Black. You can't. When we come out of the dark, watch out. We're going to rock the crypto world. I think that might be, but they certainly aren't consulting astrologers. They may have to they may have to have a rebirth chart for this coin, so it doesn't have that very intense fixed T-square in it. You can pick an incarnation chart. You can't pick an incarnation chart for a person, but you certainly can for a business. And they need to get some help with that, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because a couple of coin actually they sort of relaunch their projects, when they have fork on.
Yeah.
I think Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, Kick Token recently they do a denomination, so some people can read the chart based on the old birth chart or the new one.
Oh yeah, they were originally August 29, 2027, and they have 2017, and they have like they have a ton of opposite. They have at least 3 oppositions in that chart. Again, that's not the best. And then it's Virgo, so there's some stuckness and it's having some problems. Yeah, I don't even want to read that chart because it's out of Estonia. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like they certainly didn't consult an astrologer. It's kind of a, I'd feel sorry for a person who had this chart, because it's just one block after another. It's a chart that's full of like basically oppositions and squares, difficult aspects. So kick token may have to find a better day. Yeah, we're not going to even get to that. I think we have time for, I still have about 10 minutes or so. So should we check out Coda?
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me what you know about that, SL.
Oh yeah, Coda, basically it's launched out in London, UK. They have a long-term plan, but the short-term plan is that they have been running a competition, a Lambo competitions for the past few months. They said if you buy our coin, you have 3 million coin in your wallet and don't sell it by I think the end of September, then there's a chance that you can win a Lambo. And then a few weeks ago or days ago, they said, rather giving out 1 car, we'll give out 3 cars. So that's why the chart has been going up a little bit. The price is going up a little bit. So besides having a competition, they also want to launch something called a swap website similar to Uniswap, where people can swap the coin and buy the coin. So that's another thing that they're working on. They have an actual office in UK that you can visit, which is very rare for a cryptocurrency. So that's who they are right now.
Now, is this date correct? May 13, 2021, 1:36 p.m. in London. It's that recent that they came out?
Yes, they launched very recently.
Yeah. Well, again, here we have an example of a project that really should have consulted an astrologer and stayed away from an eclipse pattern in their chart, because they have Venus in Gemini, North Node in Gemini, Moon in Gemini. I mean, I think somebody told them, we need to have strong Taurus. So the sun is in Taurus, and so is the planet Uranus. But it wasn't so smart to launch 10 days before the eclipse cycle started. Because of that, the Venus got eclipsed a few days, 10 days after their launch on the 23rd of May, which then Venus is having to do with the good of a situation or company. And Venus being eclipsed now until December 4th. So that's why they're probably having a little bit of a tough start. And then they had their Mercury eclipsed on the solar eclipse of June 10th. So that's why they really are scrambling to get word out and be very creative. There is a good thing on the horizon for them, is that the North Node will come over their Venus. So that might give them more public awareness starting in September. The other thing they have going for themselves right now is that they're in their Jupiter return, the second Jupiter. So the Jupiter just went back to where it was when they incarnated. It just went back in this month. So that's why there's a real move of the expansion. So they're in a Jupiter return, a first Jupiter return. It's like that's still related to the incarnation, because usually Jupiter return comes back 12 years, but it went retrograde from when they started and it went back over. So that's trying to bring it out. So they also had Saturn go back over its founding, which means it's got this is a situation of, hey, maybe we need a redo. But that being said, that all the major planets, Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter, they will come back over it. And this is a time period to look out for this Coda Summit. I think it's interesting. I mean, I really wish they had consulted an astrologer about not starting a couple days before an eclipse cycle. That would screw them for 6 months. But beside that, we have some nice things on the horizon for them, including, let's see, they're going to sort it out by the end of the year. So Saturn will come back over the founding degree in mid-January. So up until really mid-January, they're getting the kinks out. But before that, there's a kind of a nice thing that comes for them in December. Jupiter comes back where it was at the second half of December. So, they're not doing anything, but they also are, and then Uranus will come back over the Uranus degree late November, December. So I think they may do so. I feel like they're gonna, it's like, okay, 6 months out from the eclipse, now we're gonna reboot and redo some things differently. So it really does look like they're a little bit behind the 8 ball, and they're going to have to work really hard. But then when they have all the planets in the founding chart, Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter coming back to where they were in the founding chart, and Uranus coming back to where it is, that's when they get their redo. And it's funny, it's during this, what I'm calling the down cycle in December and second half of December, but they're going to do something different, and they're going to recreate themselves. And again, they do have Jupiter and Saturn in their founding chart, so they are all about new paradigm. They have a lot of Gemini. So when they get the kinks out, I think it might be a very cool project, but not really probably until next year, or they could make some gain here in an unusual way. Let's just put it that way.
Do you know what day in December or January that is favorable for Coda?
Yeah, I'm going to look up its Vedic chart right now and see what the story is, because it's like very rogue that they did that. All right, so let's see. Makes their ascendant the sun. Mars is in their gain house. Okay. So Mercury and Venus. Yeah, Mercury, it's in a Mercury sub. Moon in the 12th. Let's see. So 1/12/2022 looks good for them. 1/12/2022. 1/17/2022 to 1/21/2022. 1/30/2022 to 2/04/2022. Let me just even see if those December dates that we were looking at, if anything, there's a rally. They might have an interesting thing go on between December 22nd, 2021 and January 4th, 2022. I'm just seeing if they can get in anything before. I'm just seeing. They may have an interesting little rally, or something good might come in for them in October, actually, despite all the retrogrades in their chart. I mean, besides all the planets coming, well, the planets are going to go direct. So during the time that those outer planets go direct, they're not going to be exactly on the natal of that chart, but I just even think the forward movement to go, instead of being retrograde, will help them a lot. That goes from October 14th to October 29th. But this one doesn't really get its wings until next year.
Like explosion, or like just like a little bit of like upswing next year?
Little upswing. We still have, they haven't had their Saturn return. They're basically having a Saturn return after only being alive for a few months. So that's going to be a bizarre thing. But yeah, so it's all about getting the kinks out for them.
So they will get the kinks out all this, like from now until the end of the year?
Yeah, they aren't going to be full steam ahead until next year, but there might be some interesting developments with them. Because let's see, Saturn's going to go back over. Saturn's trining their nodes kind of now. Yeah, they're going to get more. There's more. This is like, we need more input. They need more. And I know they're desperately trying to get public awareness, and they might, but there's some unusual, when the Uranus goes back over, they have a Uranus return, which would be, let's see, that's coming sooner too. That's not all the way out till December. This could be a real fun pick-me-up for them. It's actually October. No, it's not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to get I don't know. I don't want to, I just hold with what I told you, because I'm getting disturbance now. If I try to make something, if I try to like look for something when I'm not really seeing anything, because of the fact that they have all these planets retrograde and they're going to get their Saturn return again. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, that should have consulted an astrologer before they launch.
They really should. Yeah, they're still in the eclipse cycle until December 10th. And especially in the 3 months since are the hardest. So that would have been, May, June, July, August. Yeah, they're just still in the hard cycle. So anyway.
Yeah. So do you still have time to talk about Kishu? A lot of people have Kishu. Kishu is a meme coin.
This one was kind of interesting. Tell me what the story is with this chart.
Kishu is a meme coin where you hold the coin and then every day they, if there's people buy and sell and they take a percentage of people buy and sell and then they airdrop, they give you the free coin. So Kishu has been running a lot of promotion everywhere. I think in California, in New York, Times Square, they ran a lot of promotion. Did a really good job at it for the past a few months ago, and now a little bit more quiet. I think Kishu, we can use Kishu to buy. We can pay like merchandise on Amazon with Kishu, right?
Yeah, this one is very unusual compared to other coins. It's actually going to have a boom. So Jupiter. Somebody here does know astrology, I think, who founded this chart because it's pretty interesting. They made it a Gemini rising with the node is in Gemini and Mars is for crypto to have strong Gemini again. It's ruled by Mercury. That's actually good. But the planet that's at the highest degree is Jupiter, the planet of expansion in Aquarius, which is so cool that they did that. And the Jupiter and the Mercury are in a total harmony. So, you want that kind of thing. Venus is in dignity in its own sign. So I think this, as opposed to the one we just did, Coda, I like to call it Krishna Inu, but no, the Kishu Inu, they kind of knew what they were doing, I would say. And they're going to have, because as opposed to like waiting, they're going to have a big boom. They're going to have their Jupiter return. And let's see, in September. Yeah, they're going to have their Jupiter return actually at the end of this month. Actually, right, it starts right on the 22nd on the full moon. Crazy. Okay, so they're going to get a big boost at this full moon because the Jupiter moon conjunction I talked about earlier falls right on their natal Jupiter, on their midheaven. They're going to get a lot of traction from that. That's going to be very helpful, boost their Mercury. So I think people are going to hear more about them, and I think that they are going to kind of surprise people. It's also an Aries. There may be. They do look to make some gain in the short term, actually. And then next year, I don't know. There's something weird where they might get overly regulate. Something may try to stop them in their tracks next year. I don't know how that would work, but they do have Pluto squaring the natal Sun of the chart and the natal Mercury. That could be a problem. Actually, Pluto was founded squaring the natal Mercury. That's the only problem. But I just think with Jupiter return happening and Jupiter harmonized with Mercury at the end of this month in September, you're going to hear more about them. In fact, right now it's not a bad cycle for them. What's going on with them currently?
Right now they still actively trying to have their coin list on different exchange. They want to be listed on KuCoin. They just partner with another company for, let me see. They have been getting listed on more exchange.
Yeah, there's going to be some buzz and some excitement about Kishu Inu in the near future. Let's put it that way, and they could get some traction here toward the end, between now and the end of the year. Except for then, there's a big in February of 2022, a big Plutonian problem that they run into. I wonder what that is. I wonder how. So they're out of Japan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there could be some kind of weird regulatory issue or some kind of. There's definitely going to be some kind of weird obstacle that they weren't planning on. Or they have to. You know what? It could certainly be too. It doesn't. It could be like, okay, we've got to totally change the direction. They might change or release something that they've been doing or what they planned on doing. They may no, we're not going to do that. It's like they're going to have a reorg or a restructure and maybe release something that they promised to do and bring in something else. So there will be a major shift or change in February. But I think it's kind of a cool chart. I think they're going to do okay. It's just getting out there. It's so young. It's so young. It was just born. So it's the baby trying to find its legs. and try to walk before it can crawl, but it may for a while at least.
So one of our guests in the live chat is saying that the 22nd Kishu is going to be featured at the Red Sox game.
Where's in Boston?
Yeah.
I guess so. So
Okay.
that was kind of exciting. That may be.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm talking. They're doing very, very much focus on promotion and public awareness, maybe more than most cryptos.
Yeah,
So
they do.
I think they're going to do something interesting. What I'm seeing their Pluto Square Sun is like there's another recreating themselves, or they're going to do something that again, no one else is doing. I love the fact they have an Aquarian midheaven and they've got Jupiter at the highest point. So they're looking for the big picture, and they're looking for, that Jupiter is aspected so nicely with the Sun and Mercury and Mars. So they're going to go where no man has gone before. No, they're really going to bring the cutting edge activity in and really moving for public awareness. But they are going to have to do some kind of restructuring when we get into next year, February or March. You guys, I think I'm going to have to go off. It's
okay. Well, we really appreciate you so much. And thanks to everybody in the chat for supporting all of our channels. Please check out in the description below. I've got links to where you can get information, readings with Jill, contact Jill, Jill's shop, her blog. You can also check out Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. There are recent episodes where she's got a podcast with me and one with SL. You can also find SL's Patreon. There are still a couple of memberships for full access with SL. You can find my Patreon, my YouTube channel, as well as our upcoming opportunities. Oh, I'm sitting here thinking I'm showing you guys this because I'm trying to hurry through it and I'm not even screen sharing. Anyway, all those links are in the description. Thank you to everybody for joining us. And
you're welcome, Jill.
We covered a lot today, huh?
Yeah, I'm really happy.
Without it, I had no maintenance interruption. It wasn't 90 degrees in here.
We didn't get the Beyonce hair today, though. We didn't get all the hair
and scraggly hair. And I want to thank you guys for coming on my podcast and remind everybody to download those, download, and get those podcasts out there. We just launched Lisa's yesterday, but we're getting some really nice traction from the SL Crypto 101. 102 was just released. So I really want these. Let's try and make these the most listened to podcasts of Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. I've been out now for a year and a half. It's coming up at the end of September. And we'll do more crypto ones, more maybe getting the predictive stuff from SL because people like that on all platforms and all media. They like to hear crypto predictions by SL. So we'll get her on there again and work that energy. So thank you guys. Namaste, everybody.
Namaste. I see you soon.
See you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.